This is the Crown Prince of Serbia. And here is the Crown Princess. And this is their royal palace. Sort of. During World War II, the monarchs of Serbia were kicked out of the country and sent into exile and stripped of their titles. But they never gave up the claim to the throne. And now today they live in this royal palace in Belgrade, basically acting as monarchs that they're not. How's this? Perfect. There's a debate going on in Serbia about whether they are, in fact, monarchs, or whether they're just pretending.
I think we're pretty successful at pretending.
And if they are pretending, whether they might become real, and what that would mean for Serbia. So this is kind of make Serbia great again.
Yes.
Here's where we go back in time. For almost 2 centuries, the Karađorđević dynasty ruled the Kingdom of Yugoslavia, which included modern-day Serbia. Belgrade was the capital, and Serbia was an important place, with influence in the world. But in 1941, the Nazis invaded, and King Peter had to flee. Then, at the end of the war, a communist regime came to power and abolished the monarchy.
At the age of 2, I was declared the enemy of the state, ordered by Tito, the dictator.
The king's son, Alexander, grew up in London. He got married, he worked in finance, and he didn't set foot in Serbia until the 90s, when Yugoslavia erupted in war and then fell apart. When Alexander landed in Belgrade, he was greeted by hundreds of thousands of supporters.
He is the man who would be king, heir to a vacant throne. He hopes to help end the civil war in a country that he's really never known.
I think there's a lot that can be done, but I'm on course.
From abroad, Alexander backed the anti-regime opposition. In his version of things, he played a pretty critical role in the fall of communism, though many Serbs would find that version to be exaggerated.
What I did, I helped to bring democracy by uniting the democratic opposition against the regime, and in the end, that was successful.
In 2001, Alexander moved to Belgrade, into the palace where his father used to live.
They gave us the keys and they said goodbye. I asked my husband, what are we doing here? It was really quite a shock.
Well, it was an extremely emotional event, coming back to one's roots. This is my great-grandfather, King Peter I, my grandfather, King Alexander, my grandmother, Queen Maria, my father, King Peter II of Yugoslavia, my mother, Queen Alexandra.
Technically speaking, the palace doesn't belong to Alexander. He's fighting the state to get it back, but in the meantime, the government has let him move in.
He will sit in a chair and he will look at me with tears in his eyes saying, tell me, do you think maybe my father was sitting in this chair or my grandfather?
The would-be royals spend their days like you'd imagine royals might. Alexander meets with various dignitaries, Catherine raises money for charity and hands out toys at local hospitals. They go to dinner parties in important places with important people, like Vladimir Putin, Nelson Mandela, Alexander's godmother, Queen Elizabeth, and, you know, Donald Trump. You've been to Mar-a-Lago?
We knew them before they got married, and then we saw them now again. Melania's parents were there, wonderful.
The powerful Serbian Orthodox Church backs Prince Alexander. At church, he and Catherine are seated in, well, thrones. Still, Alexander wants to make things official. You know, the unusual situation now is, of course, that, you know, you live in this palace with your wife and you have these titles, but you're not officially recognized as monarchs.
No.
Does that seem like a strange state of affairs to you?
It does, but everybody's treating us nicely.
The idea of re-establishing monarchy in Serbia seems far-fetched, but there is this new political movement behind it. Last year, this party was started with the primary objective of reinstating Crown Prince Alexander, and so we've come to Parliament to meet its leader.
To znači da nismo imali prilike da učimo o tome da je Srbija bila najpoštovanija kada je bila kraljevina, da je najveću teritoriju imala kada je bila kraljevina, da je imala najviše saveznika I poštovana kada je bila kraljevina.
The party only has one member of parliament, but it recently won seats on local councils. Its members told us they don't think democracy's worked out well in Serbia. According to a 2018 Freedom House ranking, Serbia's democracy is in decline because of corruption and voting irregularities and the new president's consolidation of power. In the face of this, monarchists are drawn to Alexander, an outsider who says he represents the people, that he put Serbia first.
I na kraju krajeva sve najbogatije zemlje na koje želimo da se ugledamo su monarhije ili monarhije, kraljevine ili carevine i smatram da je to stvarno jedna prečica ka jednom novom sistemu vrednosti.
So this is kind of make Serbia great again.
Yes.
22% of Serbs support the restoration of the crown, according to a poll from 2015. Almost every day, a group of young monarchists takes to the streets of Belgrade to spread the word.
We want to show our people, Belgrade people, that we are the first monarchy party since 1945. Izvolite, izvolite. The reactions are pretty good. So they're all young people who are the face of the party today in Belgrade.
You support the monarchy because it's ordained by God.
Yeah. God is on heaven and king is on earth because of that. Simple. Without king and church, you're nothing.
You think the monarchy will bring back Serbia's historic greatness?
Definitely. At the time of Kingdom of Serbia, we were one of the leading countries, in the world. Our scientists, our culture, our military,
But critics say Alexander and Catherine are promoting an embellished account of Serbian history, a glorious royal past that never was. Others see them in another way, a silly, ridiculous, grown-ups playing dress-up in an old palace.
Political scientists and historians sometimes refer to you as a pretend monarch. What do you think of that title?
Pretend. A lot of people pretend to be what they're not, but we're pretending to be here, and we've done a pretty good pretension. I think we're pretty successful at pretending.